Okay. Happy PSW week, PSWs.
Happy
Happy PSW week. We are at the end of PSW week here at the Ontario PSW Association. My name is Miranda Romanowicz. I'm the CEO of the Ontario PSW Association and host of PSW Podcast. And today I'm joined once again with my Director of Operations and fellow PSW, Nicole Crawford. And we're here to kind of end PSW week, shall I say, kind of round it
Wrap it
out,
up.
wrap it up for the week. And what an exciting week it has been. I mean, PSW Day, which was officially on Monday, May 19th, was it was unbelievable. The amount of companies and people that posted about PSW Day and really showcasing their PSWs. It was a wonderful sight to see, wasn't it, Nicole?
Was and it's grown so much over the years. It was just nice to see that acknowledgement, and not only that, but see that so many companies and hospitals and homes were acknowledging the entire week and not just the day.
Yeah.
They were giving those props. They understood that the government shows the one day, but that they are giving them the entire week. I had the privilege on Tuesday of going to South Lake Hospital in Newmarket, and they've got an amazing group of close to 80 PSWs on their team. And they had their day set up, and a couple of the PSWs were manning the table. They had raffles all day, they had cupcakes, cake, candy, you name it. And then I was there as well. They wanted me to be there to support them, give out swag, talk to them. What an incredible group of PSWs. It's the second time that we've gone to South Lake, and I love how much they acknowledge their PSW staff,
Yeah.
and differentiate them from the rest of the nursing staff. I mean, yes, we get jumbled in sometimes with the rest of the nursing staff, but they really highlight that the PSWs are their own entities. So that's what's really exciting to see, is that we're getting a little bit more differential recognition, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, we will always be a part of the interdisciplinary healthcare team. However, PSWs, I mean, we own personal care. That
Yeah.
is what we do, is we do the
Yeah.
bedside care. That's what
Yeah.
PSWs do. And so, I think it's great when employers really do differentiate. I mean, as I'm sure nurses wouldn't want to be on PSW week, PSWs should be on their own week as well.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's really cool. And I just want to give a shout out real quick to Deputy Premier and Minister of Health, Minister Jones, who sent a video, praising personal support workers and all the work that you guys do in Ontario healthcare, and as well to my friend, Acting Minister of Long-Term Care, Paul Calandra,
Yes, that was
who
nice.
also sent a wonderful video thanking PSWs. I think to show that government, I mean, PSWs have not been forgotten. Like
Yeah.
I said the other day, a lot of change is still needed in the PSW world, and OPSWA is definitely leading the charge. And it's not just here in Ontario that we're leading the charge. So, for many of you that may or may not know, the Ontario PSW Association is a chapter of the Canadian Support Workers Association. The Canadian Support Workers Association is where we operate on a federal level with the federal government, and of course the new Carney government that's now in power. And what we're really fighting for on a federal level is for a healthcare passport. And what I mean by healthcare passport is that currently in Canada, a PSW can't go to all the provinces or any province they want and just work as a PSW in those provinces. In Ontario, it's a bit different because of our wonderful relationship here with the Ontario government. We're able to grandfather people in from other provinces, but other provinces are different. And so we're really wanting to kind of erase those borders, those boundaries, and allow PSWs to work in any province they want with the training that they've received in their home provinces. So that is really that's something that we're really focusing on a federal level. Meetings to come, and I believe we're going to be in Ottawa in the fall. So there's, a lot of things are moving where the PSW is concerned. I mean, just even here in Ontario, there's a whole lot that's happening. Hey, Nicole?
Yeah, there's so much change, and thankfully the majority of it is positive. Yes, we're still fighting for a lot of stuff behind the scenes. We're still really advocating for the PSWs as OPSWA. But we're really seeing a shift in the new graduates coming out and those going into the program, a lot of them are wanting to work for themselves. They're wanting to specialize. And I think that's because we really put the focus out there when we do talks or we make posts that you can specialize as a PSW. You don't want to corner yourself into a home care or long-term care setting and just assume that that's all you can do. I mean, you can specialize as a PSW. I did so as a hospice PSW in palliative care, and you can work as a private PSW, be your own boss. Don't have somebody to answer to. Answer to yourself and to your residents and clients that you take on privately. It has blown up
Oh yeah.
since people started taking advantage of this private funding, and it's exciting because we have the ability to do that.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I mean, really, if you think about it, a lot of conversations that I have with people over the years is PSWs are firmly put into the geriatric world, that that's the only people that we work with. And
Yeah,
that's not the truth. I mean,
no,
you have PSWs that are perinatal support workers.
yeah,
They work with, pregnant mothers and babies. And, then you go up to, teenagers and
yeah,
young adults and adults. And a lot of those individuals that we work with are those that are on the autism spectrum, that have, mental health issues. The PSW is so vast and diverse, is what I like to always say. And the joke is we work with everyone up to the age of 150, and once 150 comes, we're done with them.
yeah,
Because they're firmly on
yeah.
their own. But I
And it's
mean, yeah,
interesting because like over the past couple of years too, we've seen an increase in like school boards hiring PSWs to come in and work with those
yeah,
medically complex kiddos that may have previously not been able to go to a standard school setting because the EAs can only do so much with the
yeah.
personal care or with feeding tubes and stuff like that. But as a PSW, we have so much more capacity to take care of those medically complex kiddos, but allow them to stay in that standard setting. And so that's why it's like, and then, if you want to work with the autistic kids in an autism specialized PSW, or, we don't just take care of dementia patients, and it's so much wider than that. And I
It
hope
is.
people realize that, right? Because
Yeah.
we're jack of all trades from, before birth to all the way to the end of their day, you know?
No, it's so true. And then, you're talking about entrepreneurial PSWs, like individual
Hmm.
PSWs that either start their own home care company with their fellow PSWs and target home care that way, or they just work individually, privately for individual families directly. And there was a question, is it hard to work for yourself? And you know what? It can be. It
Yeah,
really can be. You really need
yeah,
to, you really need to be confident and have that passion to want to work for yourself and do that
yes,
advertising. And as an OPSWA member, because we do have an entrepreneurial membership, we do
yeah,
supply you with a lot of the documentation that you require to work on your
yeah,
own. And we also support you, and we also spotlight you. So, we just had one of our great PSWs, Alicia Muller, just started working for herself as a PSW, and we already have her out there.
yeah,
You guys have access to discounted marketing if you need as well, to get your logo, to get your business cards, to really, put yourself out there in a serious professional manner.
yeah.
So, and the thing we hear from families, funny enough, and you can say this, Nicole, because Nicole and I obviously talk all the time. We get phone calls from families that are looking for private PSWs. They
All
don't
the
want to
time.
go the agency route or the home
No,
care route. No.
no, they don't want that middleman. They want to be able to dictate their own care, and specifically wanting that OPSWA PSW because we vetted them. They have that insurance, they have that background, they have the support from the association, and it's giving them that peace of mind that they know who is walking through that door. And it just gives you so much more freedom too, because you're the ones that create the care plan. You're the ones that determine what you're going to do, what you're not going to do, what your hours are, what your pay is. And it just gives so much more freedom because when you do have an agency, and I mean, yes, it is obviously some people only have that option to go through Ontario Health at Home and have an agency, and that's fine. But for those that do have the ability to do it themselves, you don't have that middleman that can say, oh, you're only going to get 4 hours a week and you're only going to be able to get a shower or
Yeah.
basic housekeeping. You can customize it to exactly what you and the family wants.
Exactly. And I mean, most of our PSWs, we love our male PSWs, but most of our PSWs are female. Many of them are single mothers. And,
Yeah,
I can tell you, this is a way for you to customize your hours around your kids. So
Yeah,
if you don't have, daycare, which is expensive, and they go to school throughout the day, you can take a couple clients throughout the day, or maybe at night you have a partner that comes home, you're able to go out, or a best friend that comes and stays with the kids. But
yeah.
you can customize that care. And that's what makes it possible for a lot of these single moms to stay active in the healthcare field in Ontario. So
Thrive and
we
thrive.
do.
It's not even just surviving, it's
No,
thriving. I mean,
thriving.
you're giving yourself so much on like you're really propping yourself up, and
Yeah.
it's really a great thing. And yes, it sometimes hard to initially get into that and get your client base and stuff. Yes, but you have to be confident with yourself and you have to put yourself out there, go out into the public, go to, your friends. I mean, we're all PSWs know tons of PSWs. We're our own little clique. So we have our own network of friends and family and stuff. And you're always going to be able to find that one or two people, and then the word will spread. If you give that amazing care, if you give that, openness, then you will get that client base. You might even be able to handle it with one or two clients, and that's you set. You know what I mean? So it's not necessarily a hard thing to break into, but you just have to really work to get it. You have to work to get what you want.
I find a lot of PSWs have the entrepreneurial spirit. I mean, look at us. I mean,
Yeah,
this is an entrepreneurial job.
yeah,
And we had to build this entire association from the ground up, which we did. And actually speaking about that, just so everyone's aware, June 10th of this year is our 15-year anniversary of the association.
Dean.
15 years that I'm so tired, but
And you
15
haven't
years.
aged today.
I haven't aged it. I'm sure I have. But 15 years of OPSWA advocating, pushing for recognition and respect of the sector. We have gotten a lot of that. I mean, I remember back, like I'm a 2006 graduate at Mohawk College. Ta-da. And when
Yeah,
I came into the field, nobody knew what a PSW was. Nobody knew what we did. Nobody knew anything about us. And I'm really proud to say, and even the government didn't
yeah.
recognize us. And I'm proud to say that now, not only do government at all levels recognize the personal support worker and the associations, but they also, appreciate what we do, and the public appreciates what we do, and they realize the vital role that we do play.
And
Is our
they're
work done?
recognized not just like nationally, we're recognized internationally.
International.
And you've gone to what? Like we're at like over 70,000 members now. Like that that's insane. Like
Yeah.
it's an amazing growth, and it's still growing. Like this is just the start.
Yes, the
It might
start.
be 15 years in, but it's almost like it's just the start, because it's there's so much change now in the PSW world in Ontario, more so than I can say in the last even like 5-10 years. Because 5 years ago we were in the middle of COVID. So
Yeah.
the world of PSW for sure has changed since COVID, but I think it's going on an upward trajectory. I mean, we have to think of it
Absolutely.
as an upward and positive trajectory. Um,
Exactly. The really cool part is that we've been, like Nicole just mentioned, we've been contacted by international organizations that represent similar, workers to us. But the cool part is that CanSWA, our Canadian brand, and OPSWA, we're the only ones in the world like this for the front
yeah,
front line of healthcare. And
yeah,
it's interesting talking to other organizations from other countries, who struggle with a lot of the same issues that we do.
okay,
And so, the sky's the limit with this. There's no barrier for us to expand internationally, and really start pushing out that way, because there's a need for it. At the end of the day, I always say, and I think I said this at our PSW appreciation night the other day. Could you imagine if there was no PSWs?
yeah.
Like it would
Well,
be,
I give
yeah,
the analogy every time I go to the college presentations, or even like the high school presentations. It's fascinating how, like, me, it just makes me so proud when like the high schoolers know what a PSW is, and it's like, oh, my mom's a PSW or this and that. But I always say to the college groups that we go and speak to is that a lot of people may consider PSWs the bottom feeders, the bottom of the totem pole, as you may say. And I always say, okay, yeah, we might be at the bottom of the totem pole, but what happens if the bottom isn't there? The top is going to fall. And there's no way that the rest of the healthcare team, the interprofessional disciplinary team, can work without a PSW, plain and simple. So I don't mind being the bottom because I am the sturdiness of this healthcare team. And that's how we need to present ourselves. We are so much more than what some people consider us.
So if, if we're at the bottom, where is the patient? The patient's right underneath us.
Yep.
And so that's why when I say to, I spoke with Family Councils L4 the other day, and I said, the PSW is literally the voice of your clients, your patients, your residents.
Yep.
You are their voice. There is no one else that knows them better than you. And you need to express that voice and use that voice to advocate for those people. And, let us keep advocating for you, but you advocate for those people. It's like my mom once said, and you guys have probably heard this 1,000 times, but my mom once said years ago, she probably should have copyrighted it, to be all honest, because I've used it so many times. But she said PSWs are the arms, the legs, the eyes, the ears of those they care for. But most importantly, PSWs are their voice. They're an extension of those in their care. And so, we really need to focus as PSWs. That's our main focus, should be the people in our care. Don't ever take yourself for granted, and self-care is extremely important. You should always put yourself first in that aspect, because I say if you're doing good yourself, where it be at work or in your personal life, and you're just overall your wellness is good, then you can properly care for those that you are tasked to care for. And it's a role that is underappreciated. It is a role that people think that is simple, and that, Nicole, every time I hear someone say, well, anybody can do that job, I just want to throttle them because I would like to see half these people do that job. It is literally one of the hardest jobs in healthcare. It can be one of the most dangerous jobs in healthcare, but it is also one of the most fulfilling jobs in healthcare. And you really, truly, as a personal support worker, make a difference in the lives of the people you care for and their loved ones every single day. So, and we just don't say it to be, tagline-ish, or have our thing. It's the truth. And I saw it when I worked as a PSW.
You might be the only person they literally see that day if you work in home care, even if you work in a nursing home. I mean, I remember working in the nursing homes, and you have your residents there, and some of them might not have family. So you being there that day, like going in and saying good morning to them and giving them a hug or putting your hand on their shoulder, that little tiny gesture makes a difference beyond what you even can imagine. Like, even home care, you might be the only person they see that day. You have to put it into perspective that, what these people are going through and the lives that they're living, whether it's a senior or even just somebody that I had somebody that's the same age as me. The person I went to care for was the same age as me, and he had ALS, but he wanted to try and stay as dependent as he could in his own home as long as he could. And it was amazing to see that. And I was there as his cheerleader, right? I was there to champion him on and to be able to help him have that independence, not come and take over for his independence and take over everything that he was doing. I was just there to support him and keep him safe, but allow him to have that independence that he so fiercely wanted. And that's why it's so important. It's not all physical that we do with these people. It's emotional.
Everything.
It's everything that you can imagine. And I tell that to people. I said, imagine waking up. I tell this to the high school students. Imagine waking up one day. Go around your regular routine. You wake up, you get dressed, you brush your teeth, you have your breakfast, then you get on the school bus and you go to school for the day. Imagine waking up one day and not being able to do any of that or some of that. Right? And that really puts it into perspective, because you never know what's going to happen the next day. But what are you going to do if you don't have that PSW that's there to be able to support you?
Oh, God. Yeah, it's, and we see it. We see it with people struggling right now because of the deficit of PSWs, especially in home care. We're seeing that struggle of Ontarians trying to find that support while they're at home. And, just to say again, everything you just said again, it just plays into that line of PSWs are an extension of those in their care. And are we talking them up? Yeah, because number one, that's our job, is to talk up the PSW, but we are also PSWs. And we've experienced it ourselves.
Yeah.
And, you know, when I worked in long-term care, I always made a point that even if I couldn't spend time with the people, because I never could, I
Yeah.
would make a point to walk by them, make sure I smile at them, make sure I acknowledge these people.
Yeah.
Just because they're in a wheelchair, just because they have, you know, dementia, just because, you know, they're not their young, spry self anymore, does not mean that they are not a human being and that we should
Yeah.
not be, you know, addressing them and speaking to them as such. So I
Yeah.
just really want to put that into a lot of PSW's heads, a reminder, you know, that
Yeah.
these people, yes, life as a PSW, especially in long-term care, is, for lack of a better term, can be hell.
Yeah.
It's, you know, you're exhausted, you're burnt out, you might have problems at home, there's a bunch of different stuff going on. But in that moment and in those hours that you were on the job, you are that person's shining light.
Yeah.
And you have to remember that that is your job to do that for that person. And so that's why I really admire PSWs. And that's why I never went past being a PSW, because
Yeah.
you know, you encompass so much of care.
Hmm.
You know, you encompass it, and and there's nothing, no, like we always say, nobody knows their patient resident client better than a PSW, which is true because we are so all up in their business that nobody
Yeah.
does. And I always say all up in their business because we are. That's our
Yeah.
job. But no one else is. And so there has to be that respect there as well. But I think, you know, the future of PSWs is bright. I think, you know, as PSWs, don't ever let anybody tell you you are just a personal support worker, because there is no such thing as just a personal support worker. You are the PSW.
Yes.
And in many, many cases, you're the one holding the fort down. And
Yeah.
so I, for one, want to say thank you to every PSW that is, you know, either still working in the field, retired from the field, going into the field. What you do matters. What you do does not go unnoticed, especially by the association. And thank you for everything that you do, will do, and have done. So, you know, we can't say thank you enough. And at a certain point, we got to stop saying it all the time because then
Yeah.
it doesn't mean anything. But at the end of this PSW week, I just really wanted to say thank you. We see you. So just know that
Yep.
we see you, you know? I could almost cry. Honestly, it's an emotional
Yeah.
thing being a PSW because, you know, I know what my brothers and sisters are going through on the ground. We know the struggles, we understand the hardships, the frustration,
Yeah.
the burnout, but I really want them to know that OPSWA is here. And we were created
Yeah.
as an association by PSWs for PSWs, and this banner is yours to use. So if you're not a member yet, I'm going to tag it. I have to, otherwise Carly will kill me. You got to go to www.opswa.ca, click on membership. All of our memberships are tax deductible. One really quick announcement before we go is, in the coming months, stay tuned for an awesome membership benefit that is coming down from our best friends over at Moments of Truth Insurance, Andy.
Neat.
We are going to be offering our OPSWA members access to medical benefits at a huge discount. So, and I mean, I'm talking huge discount. I was really impressed. And I was actually surprised at how good the costs were for the
Yeah.
PSWs. But if you're not a member yet, make sure to jump on that, because this is going to cover your massage. It's going to cover chiropractor. It can cover eyeglasses. It covers dental. It can cover prescription if you want that. This is, and it's not a lot of money.
Yeah.
And it's not just for you, it's for you and your family if you want it for your family as well. So
Yeah.
I'm really stoked for this to be coming down the pipeline.
Yeah. It's nice because it's something that's been requested for years and years. We tried it in the past, but at the time, years ago, it was just not attainable money wise. You know, it wasn't, we're not a big corporation that can offer that huge discount to people. So to
Yeah.
have this start to come down the pipeline again is so exciting because we've had so much interest in it and so many requests over the years. So it's really
Oh, I'm
exciting.
so excited. So,
Yeah.
you know, the summer's hitting.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for some more events that are going to be up and coming. We're
Yep.
going to have some more education that is coming in. Right now is, and oh, Nicole and I are also going, and Ian, are also going to be at events across Ontario over the course of the next few months. We next weekend are going to be at the Hellions. What is it called? The Hellions
The Hellions Unfinished Nationals
Nationals.
at
Yes.
Flamborough Raceway. We were there last year and it was a ton of fun. Also, next week, Miranda and I are going to be at the Spotlight on Seniors, Seniors Wellness Vendor Fair, which is like something that we've been going to often. We love it.
Yeah.
That's going to be here in Cambridge at the Newfoundland Club, where we just had our PSW night.
Yep.
And so we're doing that. And then, yeah, we're doing more job fairs with some of the schools and companies that we partner with. And yeah, it's exciting. A lot of fun stuff coming up.
Yeah, so stay tuned for all these events that are going to be up and coming. And of course, we're going to be back at our Cops and Rodders in Hamilton in
Yes.
August as well. I had to plug Alan there, wonderful
Not
guy,
wait.
runs it.
It's our favorite.
It's our favorite one to go to.
Yeah.
So, with that, again, not a member, www.opswa.ca. It's as low as $19.99 a month to join us as an OPSWA PSW member, and tax deductible. So make sure that you join us. We'd love to hear your voice in one of our committees, Home Care or PSW Advisory Committee. We want to hear from you. It's
Yeah.
your voice that goes in my head, that goes to Queen's Park. So
Yep.
that's what we need. So with that, thank you again, guys. What a wonderful
Thank you.
PSW week. You guys are amazing. Keep being awesome. And with that, we're going to say,
OPSWA
OPSWA.
out.